Now, who were some of your lyrical influences, poetic influences, whether they were in the poetry field or not? Like, who were some of the people that touched you, in that way?
The first person that really captured my attention when it came to poetry was Edgar Allan Poe.
Get
When
out of here.
man, I'm serious. I know it's dark, but when he did that heartbeat, doom, 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 the way he lyrically told that story just was like, as a kid, I'm talking about, I was like, what, 6, 7, maybe 8 when I got hold to the first Edgar Allan Poe, and it was
Wow.
the Telltale Heart. And I've always had a fascination with words, and so later as life went on, um, you know, I was writing poetry when I was 9, you know, and I was shy, so I wrote poems to cute little girls because I couldn't talk to them,
Hmm.
And then by the time I got to I want to say 1984, rap was making its
Yeah.
big thing,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't know how to formulate, and write the rap, so I just did freestyle, and that's why sometimes I do my freestyle poetry because that's where it all started for me. I
Salute.
asked somebody what they wanted me to do a freestyle about, and then I do one off the top of my head. And see, that's true
Like a beast.
freestyle.
Yeah.
Freestyle is not when I'm gonna write it the night before and practice it and make sure it's perfect, and then come there and act like, oh, I just wrote that. Nah, I said when you pick somebody out of the crowd and say, what you want me to rap about?
Mm-hmm.
That's when you really got people because you got to be able to think
Mm-hmm.
and it has to flow. And beyond that, the first guy that really got my attention, I mean, I like, African Bambaataa and everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but when Eric B and Rakim came along,
Yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
no joke. I'm a microphone fiend. And I just started, memorizing his raps and things. Next thing I knew, I stopped using his raps and I was putting my raps to his beats. And then I
Wow.
was going to the skating rinks using my raps. And people be like, you hear what he said? And I'd be like, what did I say? Because I was just flowing. I wouldn't remember what I said.
Yeah.
And so later on as I matured, there was so many greats out there that wasn't with all the violence, but one of the main intellectual ones was Gil Scott Heron. To this day,
Mm-hmm.
that's my dude. I mean, I got turned on to him when I was in the hospital when I came back from the Persian Gulf, and I was sick for like 3 weeks and didn't know why. And so they got me
Oh.
laying up in, the VA hospital in Atlanta. And man, I swear, I felt like the angel of death was walking down the hallways coming to
Mm-hmm.
get me. And so I was just in that bed, and one of my partners named Nyree, which is Billy Barber, he brought me a Gil Scott Heron tape. And while I sat there in that bed, it's like my mom was in North Carolina, my sisters, and nobody was coming to see me.
Oh, wow.
And so I felt isolated and alone. And then I started listening to Gil Scott Heron on a cassette tape. And as soon as it's like I got healed, like not because of the tape, but as miraculous as suddenly as I got sick, that more suddenly I got healed. And the doctors were like, we don't know what happened. And I surely don't know what happened.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so it was part of that Gulf War syndrome. And so after that, I said, let me start doing some more conscious stuff.
Mm.
And so, I've been following different poets, from that point on. Uh, and I just Isaac Hayes was one of my influences.
Isaac Hayes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I like the way he used to. By the time I get to, just the way he expressed and the way he talked,
Yeah, he had a
and
cool.
then Jerry Butler. Uh, who else? There's been so many, and Barry White. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
just how
Oh.
smooth they will articulate their words. So it was like I've always dipped with my music and my poetry. And I had an appreciation for everything. I even listened to country. So Prince, Prince was like, yo. So I mean, I have so many influences because I'm eccentric. And so I follow eccentric people.
Yeah.
So those were my influences. How about yourself?
Man, I'll tell you what, when you said Edgar Allan Poe, I was like, whoa, that's me too. So I remember being in class. This was probably like 10th grade or something like that. And we were in English class, and we went over this poem called The Raven. And yeah, dog, it was so like, I've never heard anything up to that point in English class that was so rhythmic, that was lyrical. It was like gothic type of thing. It was just real like, and it really hit me in a place where I was kind of, I was kind of feeling. I was feeling it a lot, and it was just, you couldn't read it. You couldn't read it without going along with the flow, without being captured into the moment. So that was one of my bigger influences. At first, I didn't listen to, didn't know a lot of poets. My mom's favorite poet, Langston Hughes. So I was kind of aware of Langston Hughes, Nikki Giovanni, stuff like Maya Angelou, just kind of aware of them.
Right.
But my poets were rappers. I'm gonna have to check out Gil Scott Heron. I'm gonna have to check him out, and Isaac Hayes lyrically. I'm all about lyrics. And so for me, it was Tupac. It was just his ability to be vulnerable was the big thing, and he had um, few people have a what I call like a "how do you want it" gift. Like he could give it to you in a hardcore way, just like a rough style. He give it to you. He can give you a verse that can break your heart, that can make you cry, and make you party, make you everything in between. I've never seen anybody that versatile and that effective at the same time. So he listening to him kind of gave me the permission to be vulnerable. It encouraged me to be vulnerable whenever I did start writing, and I never really thought to do it much. But I love country music. I think is underrated lyrically. I think it's one of the dopest lyrical genres out. I do love Amy Winehouse, Corn Bailey Ray, Alanis Morissette. So the Jagged Little Pill. So yeah, a bunch of dope artists.
Yeah.
There's one out now, Saha the Prince. I really like his stuff. So I mean, it's just it's just a lot of good lyrics out there, and I try to hunt for them whenever I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and Big. I'm sorry, I forgot Big. No, I did not forget Big, but I forgot Big. Let me say Big.
Yeah. Big brought it back. But I knew Pac was gonna be big when I heard him clowning around with the underground.
Yeah.
And then he came out, I Get Around, and then they got me trapped. I was hooked on him from the beginning. There's so many 3 times dope. The Educated one, KRS-One.
KRS-One.
And my other group, Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
Oh,
yeah, I thought you were gonna mention Chuck D earlier. Yeah.
Fear of a Black Planet. I remember waiting on that CD at Fort Hood, Texas, at midnight, waiting for the truck to come in because we had pre-ordered the CD, and everybody was out there playing the old PE, waiting on the new PE to get in. And if you could just picture soldiers all in their cars, everybody just at midnight. And that's when we were really hanging out. There was never no trouble. You know what I'm saying? When soldiers got together, we was just together. There wasn't gonna be no trouble. It was gonna get squashed quick.
Yeah.
So we was out there waiting on that single, you know what I'm saying, that whole album. And it's just been so many great people who don't get the recognition that they deserve, that don't get the spotlight because it's not feasible for the record companies.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they can sell us something to make us look less than what we are, that's our definition of being a star.
Yeah, absolutely.